Hello, today we're going to read A Cheese-Colored Camper by Geronimo Stilton, Part 5. 5 pounds of cheddar. The next day we left at dawn. I pointed grandfather in the right direction. For once he listened to me. What a shock. Maybe he was feeling sick. I didn't ask. I was just happy to be moving again. Oh, I am a traveling mouse. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I am a traveling mouse. Grandfather William sang. I groaned. Granddad's singing sounded like shrieks of a mouse with his tail caught in a trap. He drove farther and farther north. The landscape began to change. Instead of green trees and bushes, there were snow-covered valleys. Icy mountains dotted the horizon. I noticed that the sunlight was getting dimmer and dimmer. I assume we have left fall behind and headed straight into the winter. And it wasn't just any old winter. It was the coldest winter on the planet. At lunch, we stopped for a break. I put on a thermal underwear. I put on my heavy parka. I put on my cat fur hood, but nothing kept the cold out. The air froze my whiskers. I had to defrost them back in the camper. We drove on and on. Weeks went by. Finally, one day, a road sign emerged through the fog. Ratzikistan. Rakunzel. Cheese nibblers, I did it. We're here, Grandfather William exclaimed. He pulled over. I must find the supermarket immediately, Tina declared. I stared out the fog. Something tells me there aren't any supermarkets in Ratzikistan, I told her. In case you haven't noticed, we're in the middle of nowhere. Tina snorted. She grabbed her canvas shopping bag. No paper bags for Tina. Then she jumped out of the camper. She looked around. Then she began hiking toward the dirty little shop on the corner. Rotting fruits and a pile of smelling fish filled the shop window. Inside there were crate boxes everywhere. What a dump! I peered through the curtain. It was filled with jelly jars. I picked one up. Little white balls of something floated in the murky liquid. It looked just like eyeballs. I gulped. An army of ants crawled out the side of another box. Each ant carried a piece of smelly green cheese. My stomach lunged. Ears shriveled. Corn on the cob struck my whisker basket. I pulled one out and shrieked. It was covered with tiny worms. By now I was feeling faint. Did I tell you I'm afraid of ants? Did I tell you I'm afraid of worms? Did I tell you I'm not too crazy about electric toothbrushes either? Oh, but that's another story. I watched Tina merge up into the rodent behind the counter. He had a crooked tail and a crooked smile. She pulled a long shopping list. I'll need 5 pounds of your best cheddar, 6 jars of your finest sardines, 5 loaves of your freshest cheese grain bread. She barked. The rodent dropped his crooked smile. His eyes opened wide. Still, he didn't say a word. After all, what could he say? It was clear they didn't have those things in this store. Forget it, Tina, I whispered. I told you this was not a regular supermarket. There's no supermarket in Ratzikistan. Tina stamped her paw. One thing you should know about Grandfather's housekeeper, she never takes no word for an answer. I mean never. Once a waiter told Tina that she could not meet the chef of her favorite Italian restaurant, Squicolians. She threw a fit. First, she saw her napkin in the air. Then she threw her spaghetti in the air. Then she threw her waiter in the air. I will not forget it, Tina insisted. She slapped her shopping list on the counter. this to your boss," she told Cricket Hill. He disappeared in the back of the shop. A few minutes later, another rodent came out. It was carrying things Tina had asked for. Tina shot a smuggler. "No supermarkets, my paw," she smirked. A cast iron stomach. We climbed back to the camper. Tina put away the food. Soon, Grandfather revered up the engine. Then we were off again. I stared out the window as we drove along. Icy storms flowed down from the tops of the gigantic glaciers. Snow-capped mountains dotted on the landscapes. Tina snapped away with her camera. "This place is like a winter wonderland," she remarked. We drove into the night. The road grew steeper. We crossed over the narrow bridge. We climbed along the rugged gorge. Patched with ice-covered road, I broke out in a cold sweat. One sleep, then we're all beginners. We'd be nothing but camper full with cat food. I felt faint. Oh, why had I come to Wisconsin? It was one big mountain mass, and I was afraid of heights. At last we reached a clearing. It overlooked at the valley below. Grandfather pulled over. He jumped out of his camper, clapping his paws. "Now, this is what I call good, clean air," he squeaked, taking a deep breath. "Someone write this down. We need to tell a tourist to stop at this very spot. The view is more breathtaking than the inside of the Cheesy Chew factory." My sister began typing away on her laptop. She had been taking notes in the whole trip to put it on our guidebook to Wisconsin. "What would I do without my darling granddaughter?" Granddad William beamed. Then he scowled in my direction. "It's a shame you're not more like your sister Geronimo," he added. "I wonder you two are related." I decided to take a walk. My feet was flat from sitting in the camper for so long. Plus, I needed to stretch my paws a little. Get an old blood pumping get away from my granddad. I took a few steps, but I didn't get far. Seconds later, Tina whistled practically pierced my eardrums. She used to signal that dinner is ready. "Come on, shake a paw," she called. "You don't want your food to get cold." We sat down on the table. Tina was busy dishing up the meal. She placed one olive, a piece of lettuce on Grandfather William's plate. Recently, she decided needed to go back on his diet. Grandad stared at his plate and sighed. "No complaining," Tina scowled. "You need to drop those pounds, or we'll have to roll you home." Then she turned attention to me. Tina had another plan for me. Recently, she had decided I was too thin. She began peeling. My plate was high with food, and was to horror she filled an enormous bowl of prime with spaghetti. Then she slapped down the plate after the plate of pies, casserole, pudding, bread, and more. There was no way I could eat all that food. It was enough for 10 mice, not one. I felt sick. But Tina, I began. "I have a weak stomach. I don't think—" "Nonsense," Tina interrupted me. "I'll fix that stomach of yours. You just need to fill with a ton of food. Soon you'll be able to eat stones." I grinned. But I didn't tell Tina I wasn't interested in eating stones. I didn't want her to hit the roof. Meanwhile, Grandfather was eyeing my food with irony. He tried to steal a roll, but Tina slapped his paw away. "I'm doing this for your own good," she told Granddad. "As for you, Mr. Geronimo, you need to try harder." I opened my mouth to complain. Bad idea. Tina picked the spoon and stuffed my mouth full of lard. "Let's see, that wasn't so bad, was it?" she chuckled. I couldn't answer. "Have you ever tasted lard?" "Think glue." only 10 times worse. This son had been kidnapped. At that night, I had horrible dreams. First, I was drowning on the vat of the creamy butter and the lard. Then I was being chased by a 10-foot ham and cheese sandwich waving a pickle. I woke up with a start. I stabbed the window. It was dark. Was it still the middle of the night? No, my alarm clock wasn't 10 in the morning. My first student. I woke up my sister. Thea, the son has been kidnapped, I squeaked. Not me. My sister looked at the dark sky. She picked up her globe. She punched in some numbers in her calculator. She paused through the Alice. The whole time she was mumbling something of the longitude and latitude. Finally, she sat back and sighed. Now I know why it's still dark, she said. Rakazan is so far north. There's only a few hours daylight here. We started driving again. The dark sky made me desperate. Who would buy a guidebook in a place where the sun never shines? Oh, why did I come to this miserable trip? I could be home warming my fur in the bright sunshine. I would be sipping a mozzarella milkshake and a happy paws outdoor cafe. I could be planting my yellow flowers in the garden. Well, okay, I didn't actually have a garden, but I always wanted one. I was still dreaming about home when I realized something was wrong. We weren't moving. What was Granddad doing? Stopping for another sudden view? It would be hard to see much in the dark. Well, that's it, Grandfather William announced. We're out of gas. He took out a big can under his seat. Then he waved it under my sound. Snubman needs to find the gas station, he squeaked, staring right at me. I chewed my whiskers. Who's going to go? I asked suspiciously. Not me. I'm too old, he grumbled, Grandfather. Not me. I'm a lady, squeaked Thea. Not me. I'm cooking, shouted Tina. I'm making pizza. I stared out the window. There was no way I'm going to get out there. It was dark. The ground was frozen. There was no trees or bushes or happy woodland animals. There was miles away from civilization. My kind of place. Not my kind of place. I like loads of rodents, like taxis and bright light. Oh, I missed New Mouse City. 2 seconds later, Grandad pushed me out of the door. Why does he never listen to me? Don't worry, Mr. Geronimo, Tina called after me. I'll keep a nice slice of pizza worm for you. I left the camper. I have no choice. They had locked the door behind me. So that is the end that we are going to break today. Let's see you on a cheese-colored camper, part 6.